In politics, timing isn't just everything, it is the only thing. On July 10, 2026, Nigeria breathed a collective sigh of relief. After a grueling, agonizing 56-day standoff, the military, the DSS, and the police successfully rescued the primary school pupils and teachers abducted from the Oriire community in Ogbomoso, Oyo State. It was supposed to be a day of pure celebration. A moment for the administration to beat its chest, claim a decisive victory against the forces of terror, and reassure a weary nation that the security architecture was finally holding. But then, President Bola Tinubu took the podium. What started as a routine presidential visit to comfort traumatized school children took a sharp, historic, and entirely unexpected turn. In a move that left veteran political correspondents scrambling for their recorders, President Tinubu used this precise backdrop, a triumph of national security in the southwest, to drop a political bombshell that will rewrite the script of Nigerian history. He announced the impending release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Why here, why now? Why tie the freedom of Africa's most controversial separatist leader to the rescue of school children in Oyo State? Tonight, we decode the strategy, the secret pressures, and the explosive fallout of what is already being called the Oyo disclosure. To understand the weight of this moment, we have to look back to May 15, 2026. Bandits breached the peaceful Isiel community in Oriire. They didn't just strike an estate or a highway, they struck at the heart of the future. They marched into local schools, abducting staff and innocent kids. For nearly 2 months, Nigeria held its breath. The kidnappers demanded a massive quid pro quo, the release of a notorious, highly dangerous terror kingpin currently facing federal prosecution. The government's answer? No negotiation, no concessions. Instead, a tech-driven, intelligence-led operation was launched. Led by the Inspector General of Police under direct presidential orders, the military and the DSS closed in. By the time the dust settled on July 10, 8 kidnappers were in cuffs, several were neutralized, and the masterminds were entirely outmaneuvered. Sadly, the victory bore the heavy scar of the gruesome murder of one teacher, Mr. Oyo State, during the captivity. When President Tinubu arrived in Oyo to meet the survivors, the atmosphere was thick with raw emotion. The president praised the seamless cooperation between the federal government and Governor Seyi Makine's administration. He used the victory to make an urgent case for state police to protect vulnerable, underserved communities. He was holding all the cards. He was the commander-in-chief who didn't back down. And that is exactly when he chose to pivot. Let's look at the chessboard. Since November 2025, when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was convicted on 7 counts of terrorism and sentenced to life imprisonment by Justice James Omotosho, he has been held in a high-security facility in Sokoto State. For nearly a year, his detention has been a lightning rod for national tension. Traditional rulers from the Southeast, South-South leaders, and top cabinet members, like the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Bianca Ojukwu, have consistently pressured the villa. They argued that Kanu's detention wasn't stopping the violence in the East. It was providing a convenient smokescreen for criminal gangs to tear the region apart under the guise of agitation. But the presidency held firm until this moment in Oyo. President Tinubu addressed the crowd, stating that true national security is not just about winning battles in the forest, but about healing wounds in our communities. He emphasized that the state had proven it would protect its own, and in that same spirit of national healing and structured constitutional process, he had directed the relevant legal authorities to conclude the framework that will see Mazi Nnamdi Kanu released in the coming months. The room fell silent. Why drop this paradigm-shifting announcement in the Southwest during a school rescue visit? The answer is a masterclass in political theater. If the president announced Kanu's release from Abuja, it would look like the government bowing to ethnic pressure or political blackmail. If he announced it during a trip to the Southeast, it would look like a transactional appeasement. But by announcing it here, immediately after demonstrating absolute military dominance and an uncompromising stance against terrorism in Oyo, Tinubu completely shifted the narrative. He didn't speak from a position of weakness. He spoke from a position of ultimate strength. The subtext was crystal clear to every political analyst across the Federation. We do not negotiate with bandits who capture our children, but we can choose to extend a political solution to ideologues when the time is right for national unity. The reaction was instantaneous. Within minutes of the disclosure hitting social media, search trends spiked across the continent. Political factions are already scrambling to process what this means for the immediate future of Nigeria. Let's break down the three major impacts of this disclosure. First, consider the economy of the Southeast. For years, the illegal and often violent sit-at-home orders enforced by rogue elements claiming to represent Kanu have crippled businesses, costing the southeastern economy billions of naira every single week. By disclosing an intent to release Kanu, the federal government effectively strips these criminal factions of their primary justification. As Bianca Ojukwu noted months prior, releasing Kanu unmasks the masqueraders. It separates genuine self-determination advocates from simple economic saboteurs and gunmen. Second, consider the legal precedent. Kanu is serving a life sentence in Sokoto. He has an active appeal sitting in the Court of Appeal. For the executive branch to initiate his release means bypassing or overriding a definitive judicial verdict. This requires a carefully managed nolle prosequi, a presidential pardon, or a heavily negotiated political settlement that involves international stakeholders like the United Kingdom and Kenya. By giving a vague timeline of the coming months, Tinubu has bought himself the time to negotiate the exact terms of Kanu's post-release behavior. Third, look at the 2027 political realignment. With the next general elections fast approaching in 2027, this move completely upends the political alliances across the country. It throws a massive olive branch to the east, builds a bridge of goodwill with traditional institutions, and positions the current administration as a unifying, pragmatic force capable of deep tactical maneuvers. But let's not look at this through rose-tinted glasses. This strategy carries immense, calculated risks. Security purists within the military and intelligence agencies are bound to be furious. They spent a decade tracking, arresting, and prosecuting Kanu. To see him released via political shortcut, right as they are celebrating a hard-fought victory against kidnappers in Oyo, could send mixed signals to the rank-and-file officers putting their lives on the line. Furthermore, what happens the day Nnamdi Kanu walks free? Will he assume a peaceful role, helping to demobilize the armed groups terrorizing the East? Or will his release act as a massive adrenaline shot to a movement that the federal government has spent years trying to contain? History is rarely made in quiet rooms. It is made in the chaotic intersections of tragedy and triumph. On July 10, the children of Oriire got their freedom back through sheer military grit. On that exact same day, the roadmap for the freedom of Nigeria's most polarizing figure was drawn up by a president willing to take one of the biggest political gambles of the decade. The coming months will tell us if this gamble will finally bring peace to a fractured nation, or if it will open up a brand new chapter of political instability. But one thing is absolutely certain: the Nigerian political landscape will never be the same again. What do you think? Is the timed release of Nnamdi Kanu a masterclass in political strategy, or is it a dangerous precedent that undermines our judicial system? Let me know your thoughts.